Welcome to this demonstration of Forcepoint 1, a simplified all-in-one cloud-native security platform. Today's demo will look at 4 use cases. Zero Trust Network Access. Allows remote worker access to internal applications securely and without VPN. Secure Web Gateway. Provides safe access to the internet on a managed device. Cloud security allows third parties to securely access managed applications on an unmanaged device. And cloud security to control access into managed applications. To protect from advanced threats and data leakage on managed or unmanaged devices.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time today. So I wanted to tee up this demonstration with you to go and illustrate some of those areas, things like zero trust network access, secure web gateway, cloud access security broker, just so that you could get from a high level of what we can go and bring to the table. I'm going to turn this over to my engineer, Ryan Nobles. Ryan?
Absolutely. Thanks, Sean. It's nice to get a chance to talk to you here. So let's go ahead and jump into some technical highlights. So what we're going to talk about today is Forcepoint 1. Forcepoint 1 is our new platform that we are going to simplify your security services edge. What you're going to look at today are a few different areas of Forcepoint 1. First, we're going to look at zero trust network access. So how can I give access into an internal application, whether that be in our private cloud or an on-premise data center, from outside, from the greater internet for that remote workforce you mentioned, and do it in a secure way. So we don't have to have a VPN in place to do so. We're going a one-to-one into that system. Additionally, we're going to talk about the secure web gateway. So same thing. How can I have my managed devices, give them secure access to the internet where we're protecting against threats and using DLP policies to ensure that our data doesn't leak out there to the greater web? And then how can we manage our cloud managed applications? So how do I prevent misuse of that sensitive data on either managed or unmanaged devices? And how do I allow third parties access into data that's in my managed applications, but do it in a secure, controlled manner? So that's what we're going to show you. And let's go ahead and take a look now. And throughout this process, please feel free to ask any questions that come up, anything that piques your interest. The first thing I'd like to do as we're going into this is we're going to talk about a few different people here. I like to use people, so I have a cast of characters that I'm going to introduce. First, we have Linda. Linda is in your IT department. She works with those DLP administrators. She works with your SOC, and she's charged with setting up Forcepoint 1. Additionally, we have James. James is an HR analyst for your agency. James is going to be going on vacation and he needs to finish up a project. And we'll talk about how he's going to do that in a short while. And then we have Mary. Mary is a third party. She's a contractor to the agency. She is assisting in that same HR department. And she needs access to only what she needs access to, but you want to secure what she can see and what she can't. So having said that, let's jump into the demo itself. What we're looking at now is the Forcepoint 1 portal. So this is where we manage everything. This is the basis of that platform that we talked about earlier. It's all in one view. When we look at the policies, this is our policies across all 3 of those areas that we mentioned: CASB, ZTNA, and Secure Web Gateway. They're all contained in this one view. So the first thing that's going to happen is Linda, she's been working with your SOC team, and some of that SOC team is fully remote. No one's going into the office at the moment and needs access into Splunk. Well, traditionally what she's going to do is she's going to provision a VPN on a laptop for them, grant them access into the network, and then we're going to have to use a myriad of different security controls to try to ensure that that person only has access to the correct thing. Well, with ZTNA, we can get around that. We can do it in a secure manner and only allow access into that one application. So I'm going to show you what it's like for Linda to set that up. Just takes a few seconds. So first she's going to go in here and we're going to add in a new managed application. And we're going to add in ZTNA. And as you can see in the title there, it's any HTTP or HTTPS application. Splunk in here. Let's give it a nice pretty picture. We're going to point it at the internal address of Splunk. This is not a routable address at all. And our Splunk instance here runs over HTTP. And now we'll go ahead and save it. And we're done. Splunk is now accessible from the outside to whomever we decide can access that. Let's go look and see what that policy looks like. All the way down to the bottom here, we can see the newly added Splunk. You can see it says it's a ZTNA HTTPS application. And we have a very basic rule out of the gate. Anyone can get into it on any type of device from anywhere in the world. And then we do what's called secure app access. So we're proxying that traffic. And it's important that we do proxy it, one, so we can give you access, but also that's how we can apply security controls. We can say you're not allowed to block any, you're not allowed to download any files. You can also use data patterns to enforce DLP rules or enforce anti-malware and ensure that malware is not getting uploaded into your internal systems. We'll go ahead and do that in this case. So we'll create a rule here for malware, Bitdefender. We're going to deny it, so we're just going to outright block it, and we'll generate an alert when that happens. Additionally, let's say we don't want access from anywhere in the world. We only want access from the United States or Canada. We'll select Canada in this case, and the United States. So now we've got a nice secure way to get into our ZTNA application. Let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to jump into the user side of the portal. Let's log back in. Our session had timed out. And you can see we have a number of applications in here. As mentioned earlier, you are a DLP customer of ours, and we can easily, as done here, put a ZTNA application out there for your Forcepoint security manager. But in this case, let's look at Splunk. So we can click on this, and it'll take a moment to load up here. And there we are. We're into Splunk. That took, with me explaining it, maybe a minute. Super simple to set up, easy to configure, and it provides even greater security than you'd get with your traditional VPN, because now we can have access controls based on different rule sets to secure that access. As you can see here, we are actually connected over HTTPS. The connection is secure. It's got a valid certificate. It has a valid certificate, as you can see. It's got a good lock there. And it's proxying it. So when it's proxying it, it is proxying it through an HTTPS proxy. So your connection, or your SOC analyst connection between their machine and the ZTNA connector that's inside your network that then provides access to Splunk, that is proxied through HTTPS. And then from that connector, it's going to connect over whatever protocol is in place internal to the network. So in this case, HTTP port 8000. So we actually have some rules in place a little bit higher up here. And you can see through this device tuple that I've created a device profile called Smart Edge Agent. So this is one way in which you can define a managed device. If I go over here, you can see a couple of other ways. With this Smart Edge Agent, we're looking for a specific process running on the machine, which happens to be the process that our Forcepoint 1 Smart Edge Agent runs under. There are also other ways to verify this. We can verify managed devices based upon certificates on the device, or any number of other ways, domain joins, lots of different ways to do it. This is just the way that we chose to do it here. So how this works is that there is a small Linux appliance or machine sitting inside your network that all it has to be able to do is get access to whatever services, internal or applications you're wanting to present through ZTNA. And then it makes an outbound connection out to our Forcepoint 1 service. So there's no firewall ports that need to be opened in this case. We're just making an outbound connection, and then we use a reverse proxy to connect back in. It doesn't matter where that virtual machine sits or where that application sits. You just want them to be in essentially the same security enclave. So next thing I want to talk about here is a couple of other policies. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about a couple of people working in HR, but I want to show the policies in place that we're going to look at so you can understand what you're seeing when we see what's going on the end user machines. The first policies we're going to look at are in relation to our secure web gateway. Here we have a handful of policies in place. First, we have a basic deny policy for websites that we just simply don't want people to be able to get to. These botnets, malware, gambling, these are ones just absolutely not. We don't allow it on our managed devices for you to be able to get to these sites. We have another rule here where based on the reputation of the website, so not necessarily caring about the category, but if it's a risky website, we don't want to allow access to that either, regardless of if it's in a category that typically we would allow. And we have a policy based around personal storage and personal email. So on a managed device, we want to secure access into, say, your Google Drive or your Gmail. And we want to enforce a few different things. One, we want to make sure that we do anti-malware in case you can't download malware onto our managed devices. But we also want to make sure that you can't upload any of our protected data up to those personal storage spaces. So we have a couple of rules here for PII and data that we fingerprinted using our DLP tool. And then finally, we have a rule that's kind of the catch-all. So if it doesn't mean anything up here, anything else, we still want to make sure that we're securing that traffic, and we still want to do malware, anti-malware on it. So we can ensure that, again, our users aren't downloading things or uploading things that could potentially cause an outbreak. And then the next set of rules are around our Microsoft 365 instance. So this is a managed application. We've federated it with Forcepoint 1, and we've got a few rules in place here. One, we have a rule that says if you're on a managed device, we pretty much let you have direct access into anything, except we want to know when you're uploading PII. I'm not going to do anything about it because you're going into our sanctioned system, but we still want to know about it. We also have policies in place for that contractor user, so Mary. So Mary is only allowed access into a specific SharePoint site. That's it. She can access that site, nothing else within Microsoft 365. And when she goes to that site, we do not allow her to download anything. We do allow her to upload things into it. So if she's working on something on her machine and then she uploads it, that's allowable. And we want to make sure that any uploads don't have malware in them. And then we have our HR users. So James in this case. James, we have one thing here on an unmanaged device. So it's got the cross through for this Smart Edge agent. If they're logging in through a thick application, say like Microsoft Teams or Outlook or Word, we're going to deny that traffic because we want to ensure that anything happening on an unmanaged device goes through our proxy. And then we have a rule for that proxy. So if they're in HR and we have they go through our proxy into our managed application, then we want to make sure that they cannot download any PII and they can upload it again, but we still want to know about it. So these are the policies of the things that we're going to try to control. Now let's see what it looks like when we actually control those applications. So right here, I've got a machine, and as you can see on the background, this is an agency laptop and it has our agent on it. So this is a managed device. James is logged in here. Again, as I mentioned earlier, James is going on vacation. He has a project that he didn't finish, and he really needs to get it done or else he's going to be a little bit of hot water. But he knows that he can't have his agency laptop with him when he's out of the country. So his first thought is, well, I'm going to get this over to my personal laptop, so I'm going to email it to myself. Well, let's see what that looks like when James goes to do that. So let's go to Office and we can log in here. Let's go ahead and get James logging into his personal email. Okay. So now that we're in James's personal email, let's go ahead and send ourselves a message. So this is within our HR repository. Again, this is a managed device. We have access into our internal data. Here's this project that James is working on. We're going to go ahead and attach it to this message. As you can see instantly, it's blocked. You can see it failed within Gmail itself. And then we get a nice little pop-up message saying that it was blocked because it had PII in it. So now having done that, James is going to go back to his Office 365 session because he had the bright idea that, well, I know that when I'm going to, I can get to my Office 365 from anywhere in the world. So why don't I just make sure this data is up in there? And then when I get home on my personal machine, I will go ahead and download that. So I can bring my laptop with me. That's not against agency rules, and work on it. So now we can see here, it's redirecting it through our identity provider, which is Okta in this case. We also work with Active Directory Federation services, if that's what you have, or any other SAML 2.0 compliant identity provider. One thing to note, as soon as we signed in to our managed application, you can see that the agent signed us in as well, if for whatever reason it wasn't signed in through your Active Directory already. So now let's go into OneDrive for James here. And James is going to upload up that same project data. See, it uploaded it, and there we go. James's data is sitting inside Office 365. So James is just about to leave for the day. He's itching to go on vacation, but he's got a bit of a gambling habit. And so he's going to go to his favorite gambling website. And as we can see here, that secure web gateway still blocks it. We can see that it's restricted due to company policy. Let's talk about Mary in this case. So here we're logged in as Mary. Mary's a contractor. She's working in the HR department, and she has access to a single SharePoint site. Here is Mary's SharePoint site. Let's go into the documents. And she's working on this file here. And as we can see, Mary has access into Excel Online. She can do her job. However, we want to ensure that Mary can't download these things onto her personal device. You can go to download it. You can see it. It does download something, but it's just a tombstone. It's just saying that it was blocked. So she can't download anything. And let's go ahead and go. Let's see, Mary is going to go into OneDrive now. And as we can see, again, according to the policies, her access has been blocked to that. So let's go back to Bitglass here, her Forcepoint 1. And we can see we have all those same policies we talked about. Everything is as described. We would be happy to set up a demo with your team to talk about really the details and get into the nitty-gritty of how this would work inside your environment and how we can help.
And we look forward to coordinating this follow-on actions. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. In today's demonstration, we covered Zero Trust Network Access for remote workers, Secure Web Gateway, for safe access to the internet on a managed device, Cloud Security for applications on unmanaged devices, and Cloud Security controls for managed applications, on managed or unmanaged devices. To learn more, please visit our website at www.forcepoint.com/product/forcepoint-1.